All right, so welcome to another episode of the program. Today we're going to talk about how small change equals big money in this business. And what I mean by that is I mean that when you get lazy and you present numbers and you present them in a non-exact fashion, they don't have as much credibility, they don't have as much power. Here's what I mean. I used to have a sales manager. There would be a trade, there'd be a car that we're selling, and he'd put a proposal together for the cash total out the door with tax, title, and everything, and he'd put it like this on the page. $24K and a place for the customer to sign. Now, when I saw this the first couple times as a salesperson and I saw how the customer reacted, I realized this wasn't very intelligent. This did not work well if you wanted to keep a good commission check with that car sale, right? Because you present the number to the customer and the customer sees 24K. Now keep in mind, this customer's been telling me the whole time, oh, you better sharpen your pencil. I'm expecting your very best deal. And when I present the number to him, what do you think psychologically happens when somebody sees 24K? Yeah, it's rounded to the nearest whole thousand only because it's got this letter. Hey, I wouldn't be surprised if the counteroffer for that is rounded to the nearest whole 10,000. Yeah, well, you guys want 24, I'll give you 20, right? And why would the customer offer that? It's not because there's any science behind it. It's just the psychology. I said 24K, so he said what? Hey, if they're going to be that blunt, that unexact with their proposal, that it obviously doesn't mean much, right? It's just a starting point for our negotiations. So I'm going to be exactly the same way they are with my counteroffer. Hey, I'll give you 20. Now think about it. This could have been avoided altogether. Here's what I learned as a salesperson. That particular manager, he gave me the pencil. I'd make my own pencil, right? And I'd go ahead and take this to the customer and say, Mr. Customer, it's going to be $24,511.22. We'll take check, cash card, right? And then the customer would say, oh, I'll give you 24. See what I mean? The message I sent to the customer by having change and having an exact figure that had real credibility to it, just because I presented it differently, their counteroffer was different. Okay, so let's talk about how this applies in other areas of your car deal. Oftentimes, one of the laziest areas that I find sales managers and salespeople present to customers is the trade value. $5,000. In this example, $5,000. Now, at what time has a customer, or even you, ever looked up the value of a car, right? You put in the information, you put the miles, you estimate the condition, and you hit go. Anywhere on the internet. I don't care if it's Kelley Blue Book, NADA, Autotrader.com, you name it, right? Edmunds. When you do that and you hit go, when have you ever seen a car come out to the last three digits rounded to an exact $1,000 increment with 3 zeros on the end? Yeah, never is the answer, right? So my suggestion is don't do this. Right? Don't present somebody a number that, hey, the counteroffer to that's going to be rounded to what? That's right, the whole $1,000, right? $7,000, $8,000. They're going to do to you what you're doing to them. Now listen, if you show somebody a number that's got an exactitude, right? Something that ends in a figure that they're used to seeing, right? So online, when they look up the value, what? It ends in 25 or it ends in 15. When they see these kinds of numbers, they imply that there's more exactitude, that there's a greater level of exactness, right, to the deal, right? I'm using change to describe the value of the car. This means that it has a higher level of perceived credibility. It can make a huge difference in your deal, because if you don't get the counteroffer, then you don't have to worry about coming up with a clever close. The customer sees the number, they believe it, it has credibility, and they just do the deal. Now that's an easier and a lot more profitable way to go, right? How about this number here? I present to the customer $52,1123 for their trade. And the customer says, hey, what's that? No one's ever given me a number for my trade-in that had change at the end of it. And I explained to the customer, oh, Mr. Customer, what we like to do here is we show you what your trade value is, including the tax credit you have for trading the car. That way, you can see every penny that vehicle's worth on the trade-in. that might shut the deal down right there because it has so much credibility and you're presenting an exact number to the guest. Hey, if you don't have to worry about a counteroffer, you're off to the races. All right, so you're walking down the aisle, let's say at your local Walmart. They don't have the item priced at $30, right? When was the last time you saw something that was rounded to the last 3 zeros for a basic price? You've seen this since you were a little kid. It's $29.97, isn't it? Well, when we priced the car at $25,425, and then the customer says, really, is that the best you can do? Because that's sticker price. Then what do we have to say? Well, I don't know, what were you thinking? And then the customer has to go ahead, name their price, and then we got to do arbitrary numerical exchanges, and it can become very, very messy. We could also lose car deals. Hey, just try a pricing policy, right? Make it simple. I saw the results at a Honda store recently where because they decided to go to a set price that had change on it and the salesperson could explain with a pricing story, their gross profit went up over $400 a car on their new vehicles, right? Because they didn't have to worry about the counter. Here's what I mean. When you price the car, don't price it at window and then expect the customer to work it out with you, right? Just show them a price and have it include change and have a story for it. We pre-discount our vehicles because, and then whatever that is, right? There's got to be some story behind your price. But let me tell you this, when you price the car at a figure that includes change, the customer is less likely to argue with the price or question it because it has a greater level of credibility. Anytime you make it easier for the customer to buy, they will. If you make it easier to preserve your gross profit, it'll happen. All right, so I challenge you. Don't get lazy, right? Remember small change. Don't put arbitrary numbers on the sheet or have them rounded to the whole $1,000. Take the time to do what basic retailers have been doing for centuries and put some change on your deal, right? Small change equals big money. See if it doesn't work for you.